All right, geometry today. Again, make sure you're filling out every column. Put the date on the first column, the objective on the second column, and then you put the warm-up on the third column. Our warm-up says, actually, let me back up. I did put in some grades, so I put in the goal sheet and the 1-1 reteaching. So if you're missing 1-1 reteaching, that's in the blue bin in the back where you can get missing work. And I don't want headphones in our ears while I'm up here. So now, if you didn't turn in practice notation from 2 days ago, I believe, make sure you do that, okay? That's about to go in. All right, now we're going to talk about rulers and protractors later, but for the warm-up, number 1, okay, it says, what is the intersection of plane C and line A, okay? So, plane C, does everyone see this flat surface right here is C, and line A, remember, you can have a little lowercase letter for a line, okay? So again, flat surface and a line. Now, y'all know intersection means where they touch, right? So where does this plane touch this line? What do y'all think? It's okay to get it wrong or make a guess, but where does this plane touch this line? What do you think? G? G is a point where they touch. It's not only G. What else? Okay. You said D to F? Okay. Is it just D to F? Is it beyond that? Well, I wouldn't call it line D. I'd call it line.
No, line B.
Oh, line B. Okay, line B touches it at one point, right? But I'm asking, where does the line A and the flat surface touch? Now, let me ask you this: is the line on the plane? If the line is on the plane, aren't they always touching? Okay. Now, this is a tricky question, and the reason I'm showing you is because you might see it on a test, and I want to make sure you don't get tricked when you see it in the future. So let me tell you, if there's a line on a plane and they're touching, then everywhere on that line, it's touching, it's intersecting. So the answer, what is the intersection of plane C and line A, is the whole line A. Okay? You can name it a different way, but I'm going to put line A for number 1. In the future, I don't want you to get tricked by that. So has everyone heard me say this? Don't get tricked by that. If you have a line on a plane, they touch everywhere on that line. Okay? Number 2, I need 2 other names for plane C. Okay? So, plane C, how do you name a plane? 1 point, 2 points, or 3 points? 3, okay? 3 points. So anybody, tell me 3 points on plane C, and that'll be an answer. HGF, that's another name for plane C. What's another 3 letters on that plane? DGF, that works too. All right, well, that's good. So in the future, can you tell me another name for a plane? It's 3 letters on the same flat surface, okay? Now I want you to answer number 3 on your own. I want you to write a complete sentence explaining what a ruler and a protractor do, okay? You can also, if you don't know, you can tell me your sentence. So everyone can write a sentence. Tell me, what does this thing do? What does this thing do? I'm going to give you a minute, and then we're going to do the assignment. All right, so this next part is called measuring angles. All right, so that's what we're going to do. We are going to use this thing today. Now, I'm not a fan of helicopters. So this thing is called a protractor, right? If you're in class, you can see me do this, but okay, back in the day, people did use protractors on the whiteboard. which I could do, but I'm not. Okay, so again, I got the ultimate protractor. It's huge. All right, so. All right, so number one, we want to measure this angle. So everybody, I want you to grab your protractor. Okay. Do you see that little tiny hole in the middle there on the bottom? Okay. That hole, you're going to line up with this thing right here. Now, what is this point called right here at the corner? There's a name for it. That's the V. The vertex. Y'all ever heard of vertex before? Vertex is a corner of a shape, okay? Or an angle in this case. So I want you to put that hole over that vertex, okay? I'm running out of room here. One second, let me move some stuff around. Okay. Now here's the deal. When I line up that hole on the vertex, the next thing I need to do is, do you see this line right here next to the hole? It needs to line up with this ray on the bottom, okay? So I'm lining up a line and the hole together, okay? Okay, so there it is on the front board. The hole's on the vertex, the lines line up. You gotta line it up before you can start measuring, okay? So everyone lined it up. Are you with me? Where do we go? What should you be doing? Follow along. Now here's the deal. When you do these, you're going to see two sets of numbers. One's on the inside, one's on the outside. There's a kind of a glare here, so it's kind of hard to see. But okay, let's try this again. Okay, so my lines line up, and I see two numbers. On the inside, I see a 40. On the outside, I see a 140. Well, which one is it? Well, here's how you can tell, okay? Y'all remember vocab from 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago? 1 week ago? Y'all learned what acute and obtuse mean. Is acute less or greater than 90? Less. So now I'm just looking at just look at your angle. Don't look at these numbers. Is this angle less than 90? Yeah, it's acute. So if I pick 140, that doesn't make sense with the picture, right? It has to actually make sense. So you got to think about it. Starting at 0, going up to 40, that is the number I need to use. Now, real quick, some people are like, oh yeah, you always use the inside numbers. No, okay? It depends which way you're measuring from. So that's why I suggest, just think about it. If it's acute, you better have an acute answer. If it's obtuse, you need an obtuse answer. If it's right, it's right. All right? So what number? I heard someone say already 40, right? So go ahead and put 40 degrees. You can't just put 40 randomly. 40 degrees. Now let's go ahead and classify it. We'll put acute next to it, okay? Now, I want you to try the other ones on your own, but I will say, be careful when you're measuring, like example number 4. What kind of angle is number 4? Obtuse. So when you line this up, I hope you don't think it's close to the number 20. Okay? Because that's a big angle. You got to be careful when you're doing that, okay? So that's one thing. Go ahead and flip it over to number 7 for me. Number 7. Now this is working backwards. Can you make an angle? So you're still going to use the protractor, and let me show you how to do it. So is everyone listening? You got to be able to make an angle. Here we go. So similarly, you want to put that circle on the end of this ray right here. and line up the line. All right. You can't even see, you can barely see it anymore. The line's right here, the end of it's right there where the circle is. And we're supposed to make a 45-degree angle, okay? Now, if this is my starting line, I'm going to start at 0, go up to 45 degrees. And what I can do is I can just make a little mark next to 45, okay? All right, so let me make sure I'm lined up. Okay, now here's 45. I'm going to put a little, you can put it here or out here, either way. Okay. Now, it's probably hard to see that on the screen, but I do have a little dot right here. Everybody should be doing this, right? I shouldn't have to come over here multiple times to tell you what to do, right? You should have already done this. Next step, you are going to connect the endpoint here to this point right here. Okay, so go ahead and connect them using your straight part of your protractor. That looks like 45 degrees to me. I used my protractor. I lined it up, put a little mark next to 45, and I connected it with a straight line. Don't draw your freehand best guess. Straight lines with the straight edges, okay? Okay, so when you do number 8, 9, and 10, be careful. If it's obtuse, it better be obtuse, okay? I'm going to give you all a little bit of time to try the front and the back of this first page while I do something, okay? Okay, if you turn to measuring segments, okay? Now, I hope you've used a ruler before. If not, okay, it's not that bad, okay? So I'll help you measure number 1, okay? Can you measure that segment? Now let me tell you, we are just doing centimeters. It says it on there at the top. I'm telling you right now, don't do inches and get wrong, okay? Centimeters. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna line up. Now, I want you to notice, I'm lining it up at 0, not the end of the ruler. The end of the ruler is not at 0, okay? And when I let go, it moves. So 1 second. I'm gonna try to line it up. Oh my gosh. Okay. Now, when I'm looking at this, okay, this is past number 9 about 3 ticks, okay? I don't know if y'all see that. Okay. You want to put these 3 answers? They look like that, okay? But you need to use the right letters. So just make sure they match. So if it's 9 and there's 3 little tick marks, I'm going to call that 9.3. Now, I know that they're tiny little things. You might get 9.2 or 9.4, okay? I can understand you're close, but it's not just 9, right? It's not 9.5, right? It's around 9.3, okay? So again, every little tick mark is 0.1. Okay, on the centimeters, every little one of these is 0.1. Okay, so just so you know. Last one, on the very back side, number 7, you should be able to make your own segments. So if you draw a point and if it's 5 centimeters flat, well then put your ruler right there next to that point. Put a point at 5 and connect those points. Okay. You should be able to make segments using the ruler as well. Okay. So I've showed you one example from each section. You want to be able to measure those angles, make those angles, measure those segments, make those segments, okay? And then hold on to that packet. All right. You may work on finishing that up now.